I spent my entire high school career avoiding gym. I used to bribe my mother to write excuses so I wouldn't have to go to gym. I believe that phys ed in high school has kept more people out of gyms as adults than anything else. I believe that high school sports, the required gym requirement, has kept more people fat than anything else, because after the trauma of going to phys ed in high school, for most of us, not for you Adonises, not for you perfect people, but for most of us, the trauma of going to high school gym was so profound that I never want to get near another gym again. And now we have a very official person, Dr. Sally Dietz. Dr. Sally Dietz has done a great deal of research and study about the impact of concussions on high school-age students in football and what that might be doing to a whole population of kids who sign up for football. Doctor, welcome to the Jim Bohannon Show. I'm Walter Sterling. Dr. Dietz, how are you doing?
Very good. How are you?
Oh, listen to your voice. You have a voice like Jim Bohannon. You have one of these great, rich, beautiful voices.
Thank you.
Your voice is a 10, Doctor. Now, Dr. Dietz, you have done studies on concussions and high school students, right?
Well, actually, I have not done studies on high school students and concussions. I've done a research study with ex-NFL players and treatment for post-concussive syndrome. But we have a pediatric clinic, and we have a clinic that focuses in concussion rehab and see all kinds of students from actually young children through elderly for concussion.
Now, who is we? You said we. Who is we?
All my doctors of physical therapy and occupational therapists. We have a multidisciplinary clinic where we're specialists in vestibular rehab in Dallas, Texas.
I'm not rude. I just need you to tell me the name of the clinic and your practice and where you're located.
Okay. Anyway, we're in Dallas, Texas. The name of the clinic is Integrative Concussion Therapy. We also have Integrative Pediatric Therapy. I started the clinic 24 years ago, so I've been working with children for a long, long time, and we've seen these kinds of injuries for a long time, but we've certainly learned a whole lot more, especially in the last 5 to 7 years, about the long-term effects of concussions and kind of the impact of some of these more aggressive sports.
Are you a mom?
I am a mom of 2 boys.
That's how I want you to talk to me. I want you to talk to me as a mom of 2 boys. What is the impact that you see on these young men in high school, college, the impact of football on the health of these young men in the long run?
As a mom and as a therapist, it's really very frightening. There was a recent study out of North Carolina where they looked at the brains of kids between the age of 8 and 13. They did imaging at the beginning of the season and at the end of a football season. They put sensors in their helmets, and they measured every hit and the force of each one of those hits through practice and through games. And they saw just in that one season for all those kids changes in the white matter of the brain. And the kids who had more hits with higher velocity had greater change. So, as a therapist, that's alarming to me. As a mother, it's even scarier, because even though nobody has come right out and said, these changes will cause dementia or they'll cause trouble in processing speed or anything else, we see in kids who have had certainly multiple injuries that there is a much greater impact on their long-term function. I think, one of the scariest things is kids getting put back in a game too soon or not fully recovering.
When you say impact, excuse me, doctor, when you say impact on their long-term functioning, what does that mean? What is the impact on their long-term functioning? What happens? Not white matter in the brain, but what does it do to their thinking and their movement? What happens?
Yeah, it's a slippery slope, and everybody is different. It can, for one person, it can be they just aren't thinking fast enough. They have slower processing speed. We see kids with learning differences. It's amazing how many children we'll get in our pediatric clinic who have learning challenges, who have concussions in their history. You can't say for certain that that's what caused those, but there certainly is an association. So, from learning challenges, depression is a big one. Anxiety is another big factor that can occur, with kids who've had multiple concussions. And even you have a bad enough concussion one time, it can affect you, for a long time afterwards.
Doctor, this is fantastic information. We have an expert, Dr. Dietz, on concussions and high school and college football playing. And we're going to talk to her more in just seconds. Here's my phone number, 866-505-4626, 866-505-4626, 866-50-JIMBO. In my opinion, phys ed in high school should not be mandatory. I don't think it's a good idea. I've never thought it's a good idea. I'll give you details on that coming up in just seconds. I believe that phys ed should be an elective. It should be optional. No kid should have to suffer the horror of climbing ropes, doing the parallel bar, doing cat's cradle on the high bar, or the ultimate horror for young men, having to buy a jockstrap at Sears. Here's my number, 866-505-4626. More on the physical brutality of high school and college football in seconds with Walter Sterling for Jim Bohannon on Westwood One. Dr. Sally Dietz is an expert on concussions and the impact concussions have on the lives of high school football players, college football players, NFL football players, how serious these concussions are from just one blow, from just one touchdown, from one disastrous situation for a football player, whether they're 16 or 36, the problems this causes them the rest of their lives. Todd, you're in Burlington, Vermont, on the Jim Bohannon Show with Walter Sterling at 866-505-4626.
Hi, Walter. I appreciate you taking my call. I grew up in a household there where my brother played D1 football, and I played football in high school. I had a couple other brothers who played football in high school. I coached it. I was a reporter. I covered it, and I've got 3 boys, and only one played football. And of my 3 boys, 2 of the 3 that didn't play football, they went to college. The one boy that did, he suffered 6 concussions from a pop corner all the way up to his junior year in high school. And I often kick myself over that, because if I had to do it all over again, knowing what I know as a person who coached and who played it and who watched it and who covered it, I don't think I would let him play again, because he really struggled in school. And I guess that's the point I wanted to make about the issue. And I'm glad the doctors exploring this thing, because I think something needs to be done about it. I've always had an idea. It's kind of silly, but back in the old days, they played with the helmets that were the
leather.
Yeah, the leather helmets, right?
Yeah,
and I didn't. And that's not something you saw a lot of injuries, maybe because the media didn't report it. But they had a lot of print back then in the media, and maybe they, pushed it aside or whatever. But I often thought, Jesus, they go back to those, and they make the rules so that you're not allowed to tackle above the shoulders. I think it will eliminate a lot of these problems.
Hey, Todd, it would eliminate a lot of those problems. Todd, how is your son now? How old is your son who played football now? How old is he
He's
now?
25.
Todd, how is your son who played football in high school doing today?
He's doing great. He's got a good job. He's doing fine. But as I said, he really struggled in school.
Thank you very much for calling, Todd. Thanks very much for calling. Dr. Dietz, have you seen this? Have you seen high school football players seem to struggle more after an injury?
Yes, absolutely. But I do want to tell you, Todd, that we just worked on a study for the last 3 years working with ex-NFL players who had played all through their whole lives with multiple injuries, who all at the beginning of the study really showed very, very dramatic signs of post-concussive syndrome and lots of other issues. And there are some treatments that are emerging that really can help with the function and clarity of your body. There's still a lot of work, to be done, but there is hope out there. One of the things you might want to, look at is finding a good craniosacral therapist, because that can really help with the clarity of the mind. And we found that with a lot of these high school kids after an injury, that's one of the treatments we will do first is the craniosacral therapy, because it really helps to calm the body and,
Dr.
and get
Dietz,
it to function better.
That's a lot of detail. Now, Dr. Dietz, here's my question. First, please tell us the name of your clinic once more.
Oh, it's Integrative Concussion Therapy in Dallas, Texas.
And tell us
we have a
your
website.
No, wait, we'll get to that. Tell us your expertise. What's your expertise? Okay,
so I'm a doctor in physical therapy. I've been a physical therapist for 37 years, working with primarily kids, but lots of adults with head injuries and concussions. So pediatrics, developmental pediatrics, and concussion rehab.
What advice do you have for parents of high school sons who want to play football? What would you look them in the eye and say based on your experience as a physical therapist and as the mom of two boys?
You really, there are good things about sports, but when we know so much more today than we knew even 5 years ago. And when you're putting a child who's actively growing and developing into a situation where there are multiple hits to the body, and like I said earlier, we're finding out more and more that even these subconcussive hits have a cumulative effect, that you really need to think twice about it. And I think it's a decision that people need to really be a parent about.
Right. Do you think that high school coaches and college coaches are properly trained to monitor the situation when a kid gets hurt, to tell whether or not that kid has a concussion, and to know what to do? Do you think these coaches are properly trained?
Well, they're supposed to be. There's actually laws in every state now that govern the training that coaches and athletic trainers need to have. And we now have requirements that there's medical personnel on the field who can, field to see if there's an injury that needs to.
I think
where you need to take a kid out.
I think you're being way too nice. I think this is Fantasy Island. I know high school football coaches. You know high school football coaches. They want to win the game. We're going to win the game.
Right.
That's all they're thinking about. Hey, Joanne, you're on the Jim Bohannon Show at 866-505-4626, 866-505-4626. Joanne in Lake Harbor Township.
Egg Harbor Township, like eggs like you eat.
Yes, I know Egg Harbor Township because I'm from New Jersey. I'm from New Jersey.
You're from New Jersey, huh?
Yes.
South or north?
No, that's not the definition. The definition is pork roll or Taylor ham. Is it Taylor ham or pork
roll?
You're wrong. Okay, go ahead.
Well, pork rolls on the boardwalk here. I have a Johnson's popcorn, even better.
There you go.
That's the winner. You made a comment earlier, about 15, 20 minutes ago, about physical education being a requirement in school, and that you were not in favor of that idea.
Nope.
I'm a perfect example as to why phys ed should be diminished in school.
What's your example, quickly?
When I was in 8th grade, I was new to the school, new to public school too, and the teachers in gym class, I grew up in different schools where we never had gymnastics, for example. And when I went to this new school in 8th grade, I was forced to do gymnastics, but the teacher was with other kids and had students watch other students doing the procedures. And I had students that were bullying me that year. They raised the horse higher than I could handle when I was in midair. And I'm crippled up today because of the disability I encountered from that gymnastics class.
I'm really glad that you called. Thank you very much for calling. I do not believe in mandatory phys ed. Dr. Dietz, I want to thank you very much for being on the Jim Bohannon Show and sharing with us your expertise on concussions and how profoundly they have seriously injured high school students, college students, NFL players. Thank you, Dr. Dietz. Thank you very much.
You're so welcome. Thank you.
Your website. What's your website, please?
It's concussion-therapy.com. And
Say it again.
Concussion-therapy.com.
Thank you very much.